Okay everyone, as always you want to make sure that your hands as well as your clients are properly sanitized, and I've already pushed back her cuticle and prepped her nail for dip powder. As you can see, I've also added an artificial tip, and to begin this look I'm actually not going to be working on her nail as of yet. We're going to be working apart from it. The first thing we're going to do is make our little soccer ball. So what I've done is gotten an ordinary sewing pin and I've glued a bead to the top. And this is going to be our mold for our soccer ball. So I found this really thin piece of plastic and it's easy to stretch. You can also use saran wrap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my little bead. And you want to try to make this as tight and flush as possible. Now to hold this in place, I'm going to get a small piece of string and we are going to tie it around and make a knot. So now we're going to trim off the excess so we don't have anything going into our soccer ball. For this I'm going to be using pure white, and this is going to be our soccer ball. Then we are going to grab our base, that's number 2, and we're going to be applying this to the little mold that we made. What I like to do is hold the pin and spin it between my fingers and try to stay at halfway down the mold and then cover the top. Once you're done doing that, you're going to lightly dip it into your white powder. Then tap off the excess and brush away any remaining powder. You're going to repeat this process 3 to 4 times. Now the reason I'm swirling the bead into the powder, I don't want to press down because that's going to distort your base. You want to try to keep this as spherical as possible. So now that your layers of white dip powder are done, we are going to grab our Seal Protect and we're going to saturate the first half of our little ball. You want to make sure that all the layers of dip powder are getting Seal Protect so that they will harden. After applying your Seal Protect, you're going to wait for this to dry. Now if you made 2 pins, you can start working on the other half, or you can just wait for this one to dry and then start working on the other one. Now that this is dry, I'm going to grab a small pair of scissors and we're going to cut the thread. And now we're going to remove our little mold from the top half of our soccer ball. Now I'm just going to duplicate the steps that I've already done and we're going to make a second half. Now that we have both halves of our soccer ball, I'm going to grab a emery board hand file and I'm going to smooth down the base. We're going to do this to both halves so that they can be flush and we can stick them together. So you're going to go back and grab your white and we're going to apply number 2 base to the center seam. You want to do this all the way around the ball and then we're going to dip it into the powder. You want to continue these layers until you have a flush line around the ball. So now we are done with our dip powder layers. You're going to want to grab your Seal Protect one more time and we are going to cover all of the new layers of dip powder that you just made. So now we're going to put this aside so it can dry. So we're going to take our number 1 bond. We're going to apply this to the natural nail. Our next step, we're going to grab number 2 base and we're going to apply this to the stress point where the artificial tip meets the natural nail plate. The first thing I'm going to do is build the structure of her nail with natural dip powder. Our next layer is going to be 3/4 of the nail. So you're going to apply that halfway through the natural nail plate all the way down to the free edge. The color I'll be using for today's look is called Hush Hush. So now we're going to do our 2 layers of color. So now that we're done with our dip powder color, we are going to encapsulate with a layer of clear. After capping in clear and removing any excess powder, I'm going to grab my Seal Protect. This is number 3, and we are going to apply this to the entire nail. As we wait for the nail to dry, we're going to go back to our soccer ball. This should be dry by now, so you're going to grab your hand file and you're going to start filing until it's a spherical shape. So once you're done filing the ball as smooth as you can get it, you're going to start adding the black coloring to the ball. For this, I'm going to be using black to black gel polish. So now I'm going to grab a non-wipe top coat and I'm going to cover the entire soccer ball. Now that the nail is dry, I'm going to grab my hand file and I'm going to straighten out the free edge. Now I'm going to go in with my e-file and I'm going to smooth out the surface of the nail. Now I'm going to grab a buffing block and I'm going to buff the top of the nail. So I wanted to find some grass to put my little soccer ball on, and the closest thing I could find was this little furry ball. So what I did is I smushed part of it. I'm gonna grab a pair of scissors and we're gonna give this thing a little haircut. Now to attach these, I'm going to add a layer of base, and then we are going to push the fuzzy little grass into the base layer that we applied. So now we're gonna grab our soccer ball and we're going to apply a little bit of base, and we're going to apply this to the nail. Now you wanna hold it until it dries. And there you have it, guys, a cool design where you can carry the spirit of FIFA everywhere you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!